Light symbolizes enlightenment and enshrines the spiritual urge of wisdom and bliss. I request distinguished members to kindly come forward for the lamp lighting.
ॐ भूर्भुवः स्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्।
ॐ भूर्भुवः स्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्।
ॐ भूर्भुवः स्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्।
ॐ भूर्भुवः स्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्।
Request everyone gathered here to kindly stand up for national anthem. जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल बंग विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंग तब शुभ नामे जागे तब शुभ आशीष मांगे गाए तब जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे। Associated with Jagran Institute of Management. The pedagogy of this institute includes holistic development of the students along with enhancing their employability skills by organizing various symposiums, seminars, guest lectures, workshops and industrial visits. These help students to prepare them to leverage their enhanced leadership capacity to build sustainable advantage for their workplace. Students are prepared to take up not only challenging jobs in their corporate but also a responsible citizen of nation. Let us quickly have a virtual tour of the Jagran Education Foundation.
Asato ma sadgamaya, tamaso ma jyotirgamaya. Lead me from asatya to satya. Lead me from darkness to light. Imparting value education, Jagran Education Foundation. In the sacred memory of late Shri Puran Chandra Gupta ji, the founder of Dainik Jagran. Under the benevolent support of the Dainik Jagran group, Shri Puran Chandra Gupta Smarak Trust was established in 1987. Jagran Education Foundation, an organizational arm of the trust, was established in 2005 to integrate and monitor the rapidly growing educational value chain starting from K-12, graduate, professional, and vocational courses. JEF has a strong educational presence in Uttar Pradesh and Uttarakhand, located at Kanpur, Lucknow, Noida, Kannauj, Dehradun, Basti and Varanasi. The mission and vision of the foundation is to build educational and professional competencies across the society. Each institution under the JEF umbrella creates an environment which is conducive for learning and development of skills. All the institutions have state-of-the-art infrastructure with modern amenities like well-set-up science labs, music centers, learning resource centers, and sports facilities. All our verticals are technologically sound with well-equipped computer labs, including latest softwares and peripherals. Well-stocked libraries with thousands of books, periodicals and journals. Mass communication institutions at Noida and Kanpur have professional setup of an audio and video studio with production facilities. At JEF, precision, passion and persistence is a hallmark. We know the dreams, we understand the expectations from parents and know what it takes to be the best. Education initiatives under the foundation are focused in improving the personality and employability by emphasizing more on cultural, experiential learning and holistic development. Our Industry Interface program invites luminaries from the academic world and industry to share their experiences and wisdom with the upcoming generation. High values and disciplined approach of our students makes them the first choice of the recruiting corporates. Most of our graduates are placed with the best of the best across India. Our alumni base is more than 5,000 who are contributing towards the society at large. At Jagran Education Foundation, we encourage you to challenge your assumptions, acquire new skills, examine unfamiliar possibilities, and most of all, to assume responsibility for yourself and the world. A vision of sustained holistic growth, a mission to spread the light of education, a dream to impart the infinity of knowledge. Jagran Education Foundation, Vidya Dadati Vinayam.
Considerable concern to the business, taxpayers and consumers. In the past year, COVID-19 pandemic has been a global shock like no other. The duration, magnitude and impact of the pandemic posed a vicious cycle of dampening business and consumer confidence and tightened the financial conditions. The disruptions it has caused are in various areas of interconnected world economy. Now, the key challenges faced by all the economies are how to cope up with those shocks and quantify the uncertainty surrounding forecasts given its unprecedented nature. This symposium is an initiative to bring together the industry leaders, experts and stakeholders from various fields who will give a comprehensive view and analysis on the implication of the Union Budget Announcements 2021 to refuel the economic engine. This symposium intends to make students and participants gain a basic understanding of fiscal environment and engage them in pertinent discussions on various macroeconomics aspects of the country. On that account, I would like to call upon my colleagues, MBA second year students, Mansi Sachan and Shivani Vishwakarma to present a survey report on Budget 2021 expectations.
Everyone, today I, Mansi Sachan,
And I, Shivani Vishwakarma,
is here to deliver a short presentation on economic revamp post-pandemic. To begin with, I would like to discuss about macroeconomic indicators. Macroeconomic indicators like GDP, IIP, business cycle are used by the government and analysts to assess the current and future health of the economy and financial markets. To continue, now let's discuss about the business cycle of India during 2020. As we can see in this graph, the fluctuation in the economic activity of India during 10 years. In the last 2-3 years, the growth rate was on peak, but during 2020, it contracted to its lowest due to this pandemic. So this was the scene of business cycle in India. Now let's have a look on different economies across the world. In this graph, we can see that majority of the nations are in recession while some others are in depression. So this was the worst global economic crisis since the Great Depression. Moving to next, in this graph it shows the GDP of world largest economies. All the major economies' GDP were in negative figure excluding China, and India records its lowest GDP minus 23.9% in Q1. GDP of leading nations like USA was minus 9.1% and Japan was minus 9.9%. So this was the scene of world during the pandemic. Now let's specifically talk about the GDP numbers of India. India had witnessed 2-3 recession period due to some internal issues. This graph shows the GDP value since 1951. But look at the value of 2020. This is the first time in history India records its lowest GDP since independence. Since 2019, India was the fastest growing economy.
Respondents were asked about the changes in personal tax slabs that are important for increasing demand in the country. Then the responses shows that 75% of the respondents think increasing the exemption limit to boost the liquidity is important for increasing the demand in the country. So that is all about the survey, and this insightful survey reveals the real expectation of the corporates and industrialists from the budget 2021. And the positive point in this survey is that the industrialists and corporates that are working in the real economic environment, that understand the economic impact on their industry, they also think that India will have the positive economic growth in this year. That's all from our side. Thank you.
In the occasion today, we have with us Mr. Sudeep Goenka, CA Akshay Gupta, CA Rajiv Mehrotra, and CA Govind Maheshwari to enrich the audience with their insights. Post-lunch, we have paper presentation by MD and MCA students on various themes pertaining to budget implication on different aspects. I take this honor and privilege to welcome the first guest speaker for the day, Mr. Sudeep Goenka. Sir is director of Goldie Group. He has more than 15 years of experience as a business owner and has expertise in areas ranging from marketing, administration, production and engineering activities. He has completed Bachelor's of Science, Industrial and System Engineering from Georgia Institute of Technology, Atlanta, USA. He has also served the Coca-Cola Company in Atlanta, Georgia in the year 2006 as CSD Business Analyst. He has increased the presence of Goldie brand pan-India by multifold expansion in terms of number of distributors and retailers presence. Sir has deployed Microsoft Navigation ERP system to run the organization professionally and centralized connection to all divisions of the group. Mr. Goenka has created terms for streamlining the manufacturing process of the ready-to-eat division by setting up the state-of-the-art facility and directed marketing efforts to promote visibility and introduce new products. He has the ability to handle complex situations, design practical solutions, and implement cost-effective plans. A person with humble behavior, he has played an active role in developing personnel, motivating staff to exceed goals and improve production and sales. I request CEO, Jagran Education Foundation, Dr. J.N. Gupta, to kindly welcome Sir by presenting him a sapling.
Team runs on digital platform. The entire organization is on cloud ever since last 12 years, and we see a huge difference. The government took the initiative of Jan Dhan Yojana, which ensured to robust our banking system and to ensure every citizen of India has the access to banks. Trust me, this one initiative has resulted in increase of savings, because the moment when cash came to hand, it used to be spent. So I'm not going into the more detail of the parameters, but what I have talked is more on the opportunities. My request to you as students, don't get mesmerized by data. Don't try to learn the data, but let's try to understand the data. Let's try to feel where are we heading. There is a book by Sun Tzu, it's called The Art of War, my most favorite book, and it clearly says, which was displayed during the COVID times, when in war, prepare for peace, and when in peace, prepare for war. Friends, the future of India lies with us. The reason I say us, because I belong to your generation. And I promise you that if we play our cards right, the entire country is looking towards India. And very rightly said in the presentation, the IMF has clearly dictated on such a large economy, only India to have a double-digit growth. On a nutshell, if I evaluate that, the reason is we are the country which will have the highest in-house consumption. We are the country where the average age lies under 40. And we are the country where, I can say in the FMCG sector, every single day there are brands, retail chain brands coming from outside of India to invest in India. This is the time where we have to enhance our skills. One more important point as students, whenever your on-campus interview happens, how many of you just think that night, pray to God, go to Hanuman ji, please mera kal acha package bana dena? I think a lot of you. But apart from praying, let us start working on it today. Let us find the sector which really impresses us, excites us, and I'm sure as an entrepreneur I can tell you, if you are capable enough, there is nobody in this world who can take that higher package away from you. The world is of specialization. And trust me, only becoming an MBA or a diploma doesn't work today. As entrepreneurs, the world has changed. Organization like ours is looking for leaders. They are no more looking for followers. We have a system of we are creating the system of in the organization where we will have 10 or 15 data scientists. And I remember reading that book, The Business at the Speed of Thought, in the year 2003. And Bill Gates said one thing very clearly. He said, let the data chase you and you don't chase the data. And I'm fortunate that in our organization, we have kind of created that system where data chases us today. And I'm sure that data is chasing you also. If you post something on the social media platform, how many times in a day do you look at it, that how many people liked it, and how many of them commented on it? Do you feel gratified? I'm sure yes. But the point is, how much of that information is really taking us ahead? So I finish my talk with this message and a request that as students, as the future of this country, let us align ourselves with all these initiatives taken by the government of India. The different budget implications. I'm sure there are many negatives also, but from a business point, I was talking to Govindji, I was really happy with the section 147, which is allowed, instead of 6 years, it is 3 years now for income tax books. And this allows me also to learn. Given an opportunity, I will come and meet you and learn more. In the end, 3 lines. To dream anything you want to dream, that is the beauty of human mind. To trust yourself and to test your limits, That is the courage to succeed. Thank you, friends. Thank you.
Sir is a practicing chartered accountant since 1981 and is founder partner in Mittal Gupta and Company, Kanpur. He is past Central Council member of the ICAI, elected for the term 2007 to 2010. He was elected to the Central India Regional Council of ICAI for various terms and has held all the positions of office bearers during these terms, including chairman for the year 1998-99. He is one of the founder members of Kanpur Chartered Accountants Society and was its president in 1991-92. He was vice chairman of Indirect Taxes Committee and Vision Committee of ICAI and member of various other committees of national repute. He has contributed as chairman, convener and member of various study groups formed by statutory bodies such as Study Group on Formulation of Corporate Governance Code, Working Group for Suggestions on GST Concept Paper, Study Group for Suggestions on Direct Tax Code, RBI Study Group on Implementation of IFRS, to name a few. He was member of the Fund Management Committee of IIT Kanpur and independent director of the board of many companies, including Northern Coalfields Limited. I would request Director, Jagran Institute of Management, Dr. Divya Chaudhary, to welcome Sir with a sapling.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Now I would request Sir to come forward and enrich us with his knowledge.
Respected Guru, Dr. J.N. Gupta. He was my teacher when I was very young. I was in BCom. Director, Jagran Institute of Management. My friend Rajiv, Govind, and very distinguished faculty, and most dear to my heart, the students from wherever and whichever field they belong to. It's really indeed not only a pleasure, but also a pride to come to this kind of institute. The pleasure is not because I am invited, but the pride is because the kind of presentations. The survey report which has been given by the students here, I think these are eye-opener. And myself and Rajiv were really discussing that should we come here as a student or should we come here to give a lecture to these students who are already so enlightened. I'm really happy. And Sudeep, my younger brother, I have heard him for the first time, although I deal with him almost daily because we are also working for Goldie in some manner. But he has actually given some very good insights about the country and the expectation from the students and the expectation which we should have from the budget. Now friends, already much has said about the economics. Rajiv is there who will already be discussing about the macro aspects of economics. Govindji is a teacher of direct taxes and indirect taxes, and one of the best teachers among the CA students faculty. So I think my task is little lighter. I will take it in a very light manner and will begin with not only with the data. Data, of course, much of data has come and much of data will be coming. And Sudeep has already told us, don't chase the data, let the data chase you. But what is the backdrop? What are the expectations? And how this budget is trying to match those expectations? Probably That kind of discussion I will try to deal and to deliver before all of you. Friends, pandemic. Lot have been discussed about the pandemic, nothing more to say. The only thing which I will like to say and which we all have witnessed, what has happened and what this pandemic has taught us. Sudeep has said, when there is war, work for peace. When there is peace, work for war. So that was definitely a war. And in that war, all have learned, this country have learned to work together. Not only the front warriors, not only the health workers, but the country as a whole was working not for his own life, but for saving the lives. This is the biggest transformation which has happened in our social culture, and which is contributing all along since then in our zeal to grow, zeal to help each other. And that is the expectation from the government, that our socio-economic culture grows in that fashion and we achieve a society with love and affection and working for each other. That is the biggest gain which has come on the positive side of the pandemic. Now, so far the economic front is concerned, you all have already witnessed GDP contraction, first quarter 23.7%, some improvement 7.5% in the second quarter, and ultimately from the budget estimates which was around 207 lakh crores of the GDP, we will be ending somewhere around 190 to 192, which is almost 7% down than the budget estimates. If you really ask, it's not much. Because India adopted the policy, and the Prime Minister announced it in the beginning itself, Jaan hai to jahan hai. And then from Jaan hai to jahan hai, the extreme lockdown was at the cost of the GDP. India adopted that policy. There was a comparison that the fall of the American economy was only 9.1% as against 23.7% of India. That was as per policy. Temporary fall in GDP could not affect permanently, but the permanent loss of lives is permanent. जान है तो जहान से हम लोग आए, जहान भी और जान भी और जहान भी, and India took a V-shaped recovery as we witnessed. But what has happened? Unemployment due to migrant workers, due to fall in economic activity, in long term and short term and medium term. In all the three terms, unemployment was huge. Economic activity, of course, was at quite low. But there were certain very strong indicators. India has more than 580 billion of foreign exchange reserves. This is a very strong indicator. One very important indicator which is never discussed in our day-to-day discussions, but I could read it in the economic survey which was published by the government just 2 days before the budget, that the rate of interest which India is paying on the borrowing, average rate of interest, that is lesser than the rate of growth which India has achieved over past many years. Meaning thereby, इसका मतलब क्या है? इसका इस इंडिकेशन से गवर्नमेंट को देखिए कितना आई शुड से पॉलिसी डिसीजन में कितनी हेल्प हुई। अगर आपके घर में या आपके किसी भी कॉर्पोरेट में आप जो रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट पे कर रहे हैं, इफ इट इज लेसर देन द रेट ऑफ ग्रोथ और रेट ऑफ प्रॉफिट, इट मीन्स यू आर able to sustain the debt. This was a very strong indicator. Another was, unlike the rating agencies, and the economic survey was very clear on that, they commented upon in the economic survey upon the rating which the rating agencies is looking at India, how they are looking and how they should look. rating agencies, international rating agencies probably could not differ between the developing economies and between the developed economies. Developed economies में with lesser population, they have a pie which has to be shared among them, and that is enough for everybody. But in a developing economy like India, where the population is huge and the pie size is short, it is small. So we need to increase the size of our pie. हमारी जो रोटी है, वहाँ की रोटी ऑलरेडी इतनी बड़ी है और लोग कम हैं. हमको अपनी रोटी का साइज बढ़ाना है. This is the fundamental. That is why जो रेटिंग एजेंसीज हैं वो कहते हैं कि आपकी डेफिसिट फाइनेंसिंग कम होनी चाहिए, फिस्कल डेफिसिट लो होनी चाहिए, बट दैट मे बी गुड फॉर द डेवलप्ड इकोनॉमी. उनका काम क्या है? उनका काम है they have to work on whether the particular country is able to sustain its debt. That is the work of the rating agencies for any corporate or for any country. And India has a track record all along. It has never defaulted. If you all remember, way back in sometimes in 80s, India pledged its gold but never defaulted. And there is positive growth except in this pandemic. So this is the backdrop. With this backdrop, now the need and expectations from the budget are what? As very well came into this presentation which came from the students. Expectation, of course, is growth. And the purpose of the budget is the allocation should be such that it stimulates the growth. It gives a push to the growth. We are all reading all along after the budget came that it is a positive budget. Very good comments are coming, and even the stock market has given a salute to this budget. And probably this is the most, I should say, bold budget which we have witnessed in last many years. Why I say so, or why all the people say so? इसका reason क्या? Why do we say it is a bold budget? What is so bold about it? Just now I talked about the rating agencies. A good budget is that where the deficit financing is, or the fiscal deficit is at a low level. And all along, in last many years, we were formulating our budget keeping in mind the rating agencies, and we are not bold enough to come out of that shell. This time, the government has very clearly, openly, in their economic survey as well as in the budget speech, the government has come out of that shell. They didn't care for these numbers. They didn't care for the kind of percentages or the parameters which are prescribed by the rating agencies or by the global agencies. This time, 9.1% or 9.5% is the budget now estimated of the fiscal deficit. In this budget, after a long time, the fiscal deficit is pegged at 6.8%. This is huge. Of a GDP size of estimated 223 crores or 224 crores, this is huge. So this is why we call it a bold budget. But there are certain negatives to this. If you all have read the Keynesian theory of economics, what is the Keynesian theory? Anybody can tell me? There are many students of economics. The Keynesian theory is that for a developing country, for a developing economy, the government should spend beyond their means with the deficit. Plug the deficit in. There are many ways of plugging the deficit that I will discuss later on. The Keynesian theory is that in a developing economy, for the welfare of the people, the country should go for the deficit financing and with the government, increasing government spending in a rightful manner. This is very important. Government spending in a rightful manner, in a valuable way to create infrastructure and growth, so that whatever deficit is here, which is put on the balance sheet side as idle cash, this transform into some infrastructure which will generate income in futures to gap this deficit. This is the Keynesian theory. And the government this time very boldly adopted that theory. 6.8% deficit financing, and of course, look at their confidence of the finance minister. They will be able to achieve it or not, the future will tell. But the confidence is that with the deployment in the infrastructure, where the outlay has increased by 34%, the production will be generated at the growth rate will be such that in next 2 years or 3 years, this deficit will come down to 4.5%. With an increased outlay each and every year in the future also, because India is poising for a $5 trillion economy. So that is why it is called a board budget. I will take you now to some of the major steps which have been taken, of course, to meet these expectations which are from the budget. These are in the part A of the budget. Rajiv has already told me that he will be covering many aspects. But with this background, I will cover only a few major steps which have been taken. I think these have been discussed all along among yourselves, and these will come again in the post-lunch session in various presentations. But anyway, one thing was talked about the trade deficit. That the trade deficit has narrowed down. This is a positive indicator. But to me, this time it is not a positive indicator, because the trade deficit, there is a balance between the import and export. It has not come down because the exports have increased. It has come down because the imports have decreased. So it means the economic activity has gone down. It has come because of that. So that is not a very positive thing this time. Anyway, so Finance Minister has put up the plans, the budgetary plans, with 6 major pillars, as she told in the budget speech. What are those 6 pillars? One is the health and well-being. Another is fiscal and financial capital infrastructure, inclusive development of aspirational India, reinvigorating human capital. This has never come in before. Innovation and R&D, and minimum government and maximum governance. I will try to cover few of these steps which are under each of these pillars which are there in the budget. Health infrastructure, of course, an increase of 137%. This was the immediate need. This was the immediate need of the country. 64,080 crores have given for some Prime Minister Yojana, which will be spent in as per plan in next 3 to 4 months, and the rest will 137% increase over the year. Clean environment, water and sanitation. What I am trying to say is that this government in this budget has tried to do 2 or 3 major things. One is the immediate need of the society. That are the basic needs. India still is lacking in the basic needs. Basic needs क्या हैं? What are the basic needs? Food, shelter, clean water, sanitation, clean air. These are some of the basic needs. Probably the first time in the budget, they have not given that plan only for this particular year, but so far some of these are for next 5 years. The allocation they have already defined, the plans they have already made for next 5 years. So I'm not going into the details, but like Jal Jeevan Mission, 2.87 lakh crore over the next 5 years. The idea is to provide tap water in 8,432 centers across the country. The Tier 1, Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities. And clean water. हम लोग अमेरिका जाते हैं, we go to America, we use tap water for drinking also. But in India now, tap water is no, bottled water, RO and all those are becoming popular. Those all should be stopped, abolished. Then for clean air and employment generation, car scrapping policy. This was the requirement. Delhi ke andar, in Delhi, there are many in the past, so many things were done to reduce the traffic, because the pollution level which is increasing due to the vehicular movement in the cities. This car scrapping policy will be very I think effective, because 15 years, 20 years limits have been put there, and at the same time it will employment will be there by increasing production for the vehicles and these things. Of course, great amount has been provided for the vaccines. One or two things which I will like to deal with. One is, of course, 54 lakh crore has been provided for the capital outlay. That is there, that is understood. But most important thing is how to manage this capital inflow. That is very important. It is not only the government cup 5.54 lakh crore is a stimulus only. But the funds the plans which are there, probably these will need huge money, many more times from this 5.54 lakh crores. So for that, some financial infrastructures, some provisions are there whereby the investment of private sector as well as from the foreign countries will keep on flowing in. Some major steps I will discuss. One is this monetization pipeline. Hitherto, government was planning, budgeting year after year for the disinvestments only. And these disinvestments targets could never be met. Never. In last 4 or 5 years, these could never be met, although the huge expectations were there from investments. This time the government, apart from the disinvestment, the disinvestment target is too high, 1.75 lakh crores. Apart from that, these investment trusts for the infrastructure sectors, the idea is, in simple way, already running projects. For example, of National Highway Authority of India, the roads are there. The roads are currently being operated by National Highway Authority of India. The assets are standing on the balance sheet of National Highway Authority of India. What the government is planning, that a particular project or a particular road or particular highway will be shelved into an investment trust, whereby the private investors may come in and they will be allowed to run and operate those roads. So they will be earning out of the toll and all those collections. At the same time, the investment will come to that trust, and that trust will pay to NHAI, and then NHAI may invest that funds into the further growth and further new projects. Which is not only for the road, it is for airports, it is for the ports, it is for railways, even railway freight corridor. This is a big change and big plan, whereby the foreign flow with the kind of culture, economic culture we have in this country is sure to come. Production linked incentives, Atmanirbhar Bharat. In last few months, 13 sectors have been identified by the government, whereby production linked incentives will be provided by the government of India. Now they are expanding this list of 13 to as many as 27 industries. This is a big challenge and big, I should say, relief or big stimulus for the country to grow, for the industries to grow. And it's not only the industrial sector or manufacturing sector, it is also the service sector. Then capitalization of banks, 20,000 crores, not as much as was expected. It's not that much, but the two important steps therein. One is the privatization of at least two banks and one insurance company. This, of course, the private equity or the foreign equity will be flowing in the country, and the sizes of the banks, what the country needs and what the government is looking for, that if a bank size is small, what happens? You should take a bank like, for example, Indian Overseas Bank. Now its balance sheet size is only 2 lakh crores. If they give a loan of say 1,000 crores to any corporate and that goes bad, उनका साल का profit ही नहीं है 1,000 crore. So for that kind of bank to take a decision and call to finance the big infrastructure projects is very, very difficult. So government is looking for big size banks like SBI. And let me tell you, SBI is the only bank of the country which is among the top 50 banks in the world. And it ranks around 47th, although its size is the biggest in this country. So this country needs big size banks to finance the economic activity. Agriculture, of course, like every year, many schemes have been introduced, and the credit to the farmers, the amount and outlay, 16.5 lakh crore is a huge amount. Their scheme increase is tremendous, and I believe with this the agriculture sector and the allied sectors, they will be benefited, and because that is the only sector which has rescued this country in last 1 year. Only agriculture sector had the growth of 3.4%, and where there were negative growth in all the other sectors. So these are some, because Rajiv will be covering many new kind of things which are there, I should say, where the country, the futures, like many things he has there for you. But some important changes, reforms I should discuss. One is, under this 6th pillar of minimum government, maximum governance, 3-4 steps have been taken. One is, already the government has decriminalized many offences under the Companies Act. The next one is to decriminalize the LLP Act, because LLP now is becoming popular, not only among the professionals, not only among the service industry, but also in the trade and business all around. And one-person company, many more reforms are done there, so that the foreign equity and of course the foreigners with the research ideas and with some innovative ideas can come and operate in India. And the most important I look for the stock market is consolidating various acts. Hitherto there are many acts, Security and Exchange Contract Act, and 2 or 3 more acts, and the SEBI code is there. Now they will be coming out with a comprehensive SEBI code. This will be a great reform so far the share markets are concerned, stock markets are concerned. So friends, within the given time, I am not discussing the various direct tax proposal or the indirect tax proposals or any other steps, but I am very sure and very hopeful that this kind of budget, if all the sectors of the society, and especially looks at, what is the key to the success of this budget? The key is the implementation. And implementation needs what? First of all, it needs many administrative reforms in this country. Our country is still run by the bureaucrats. And these bureaucrats have a particular mindset. And what has happened in the past, probably that will happen in the future also. But where lies the light? The light is that now, with the privatization of the industry, with the privatization of the education, with the privatization of the health sector, with the privatization of many more new sectors, these new brains, the open brains like Sudeep Goenka and like these students, now they are coming in the main stream of this economic society. And I think there we need help of all of you, and there lies the challenge, there lies the opportunity for all of us to move in this society and to achieve what is planned, and to achieve enlightened India and insurgent India, I should say. And with this words, I once again thank all of you for this.
Thank you, Rajiv Mehrotra. Sir is a practicing chartered accountant since 1984 and a founder partner of Rajiv Mehrotra and Associates. He specializes in direct taxes, international taxation, and corporate taxation. He also excels in other areas of practice, including audits, bank finance, corporate structuring, arbitration, and coalition. He is a Delhi University alumnus, an avid reader, and an enthusiastic lecturer. He has and continues to contribute to the profession through lectures and write-ups on various topics of professional interests. He has also assumed offices of professional leadership and other social organizations. He has been the vice chairman of the CIRC of ICAI, the president of Kanpur Chartered Accountants Society, and president of Kanpur Income Tax Bar Association. I would like to request CFA Anuj Aju to please welcome sir with the sapling.
Still morning? Yeah. No, it's good afternoon. Good afternoon, everybody. अक्षय भाई साहब के सामने, डॉक्टर जे एन गुप्ता सामने, गोविंद के सामने, it's actually a privilege to share the dais. Honorable Dr. J. N. Gupta ji, Akshay Bhaiya, Govind, Madam Divya, all students here and all lecturers, faculties. You know, it's actually a privilege. और सच्चाई है कि हम लोग अक्षय भाई साहब से सीखते आए हैं बहुत समय से, जब से हम प्रोफेशन में रहे हैं. अक्षय भाई साहब is a guiding force, and I can tell you from my heart that he is one person who's unbiased and unparalleled chartered accountant in Kanpur. I can say from the dais, and I always say that. We are fortunate to have him as an elder brother who is actually unbiased. मतलब आपको unparalleled. और गोविंद जैसे हैं, नाम भी गोविंद है, पढ़ाते भी अच्छी तरह से गोविंद की तरह. तो गोविंद is always there. And I was called by Divya ma'am to come and discuss few of my thoughts. So speaking in front of students who are very, very, you know what, if I speak something to just now, you will Google it and check whether it's right or wrong. So it's very difficult in today's students, because when we used to do our CA, तब तो calculator भी नहीं था. And of course, wonderful MOCs. I must congratulate you. You've done a wonderful job. And the person who presented the budget, we are discussing that. Though you all know much more than what we know. Well, friends, you know what? I would start from where Akshay Bhai sahab ended. I would be a bit different on the budget, because बहुत तालियां बज गई budget की. पहले ये है कि let us come what actually is the budget and what actually is the implementation. एक तो GDP क्या है? वो बड़ा अच्छा एक जोक है, you know, एक जैसे हम अक्षय से जा रहे थे, गंगा में गंदा पानी था, तो उसने कहा पानी पियो. अक्षय ने कहा राजी तुम गंदा अगर 1 लीटर पानी पी लोगे तो 100 रुपये तुम्हें दूंगा. मैंने कहा भाई साहब आप पानी पीजिए, मैं 100 रुपये दूंगा. तो दोनों ने एक दूसरे को 100 रुपये दिए. तो किसके पास कोई पैसा आया? नहीं आया, पर GDP 200 रुपये बढ़ गया. तो GDP grew by 200 rupees. So that's what GDP is all about. So let's not go into GDP, because GDP में ये ना, मैंने कंप्यूटर की चीज खरीदा और मैंने उसको CA की सर्विस ज्वाइन कर दी, पैसा एक्सचेंज नहीं हुआ, पर GDP 200 रुपये बढ़ गया. So see, you know, GDP at times is cost of goods and services which are coming in, and it's very different than actual what happens. I'll start from where Akshay sahab ended. You know what? My biggest problem of any budget, any company, anywhere, even this government or earlier governments, is that what is the need of the budget when you don't have any responsibility statement. आप ये बताइए, आपने बजट बनाया पिछला, पिछले से पिछला, पिछले से पिछला, पिछले से पिछला, क्या आज की तारीख में देखिए क्या होता है, चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट फर्म है या कोई कंपनी आप लोग खोलते हैं, आई एम द बिग क्रिटिक अबाउट द एंटायर पॉलिसी. दो आपने कंपनियां खोली, दो हमने और डॉक्टर गुप्ता ने कंपनी खोली, हम दोनों ने अपना पैसा लगाया, हमने कोई बैंक से लोन नहीं लिया और कंपनी को हमने 100 करोड़ का टर्नओवर किया. मेरे पास कौन सा कानून लग रहा है, मुझे जीएसटी देना है, नहीं किया मरूंगा, इनकम टैक्स देना नहीं किया मरूंगा, जो सारे एक्ट नहीं दिए मरूंगा, सरकार मुझको ऑडिट भी कराओ, ये भी कराओ, ये भी कराओ, ये भी कराओ, और सरकार का वही कलेक्शन है क्रेडिट साइड का. ठीक, अब आप बताइए कि जो सरकार खर्चा कर रही है उसका कोई करेक्शन चेक है? What is the check on the government expenditure? My money of 34 lakh crores the budget, my money which is collected from direct taxes and everywhere is checked by whom? I am subject to statutory audit, internal audit, every audit, but my money is checked by the government by whom? By CAG. And what? Some railways, defense, income tax department चाहिए, वहाँ लोग काम कर रहे हैं, कहीं भी सरकार में चाहिए लोग काम कर रहे हैं, कौन चेक करता है? CAG. CAG उनका इंटरनल अपॉइंटेंट है, मैंने जिसको अपॉइंट किया वो चेक कर रहा है मेरा, जबकि मेरी कंपनी को चेक करने के लिए आप कहते हो स्टैट्यूटरी ऑडिट, और फिर आप कहते हो नहीं सरकारी और सब रेगुलेटरी अथॉरिटीज आ रही हैं, वहाँ रेगुलेटरी अथॉरिटी नहीं है. What I mean is where exercise ended is that what will be the process of actual checking of expenditure and implementation of the budget proposals. Very good, every budget, you know, whenever we talk every budget very high. I was reading a report of NGT in 2018, National Green Tribunal. उन्होंने पता है क्या कहा? उन्होंने कहा पिछले 2 साल में मतलब 18 की रिपोर्ट है, यानी 16, 17, 15, 16, 17 में गंगा जी में 7,000 करोड़ का खर्चा किया गया. अब गंगा जी का 7,000 करोड़ कहां गया? गंगा जी. क्वेश्चन यहां आता है कि शायद एवरीथिंग फाइन, आई एम विद द बजट, वेरी गुड, एक्सपेंसिव, एवरीथिंग, बट व्हाट अबाउट द चेकिंग ऑफ द एक्सपेंडिचर व्हिच इज बीइंग done by us, or the contribution made by us, or the so-called deficit financing done by us, or for the interest borrowing done by us for the development of the nation. What is it? Where there is a check for the government, and are we speaking loudly about it? If my expenditure is done by railways, then is there a system of railways, or if the income tax department is establishment expenses, they are paid by me. But is there any system of checking? Okay, there may be a report card, but is there any checking or any accountability of them? Or with the government department, if they are not going according to the budget expenditure plans and they are diverted, suppose the cost of project 1,000 करोड़ का इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर प्रोजेक्ट था, उससे 2,000 करोड़ का अगर कॉस्ट ओवररन हो गया, कोई जवाबदारी है? मेरे प्रोजेक्ट में जवाबदारी है जो बैंक बैंकरप्ट कर देगा मुझे, मेरा टर्म लोन डिफॉल्ट हो जाएगा, डिफॉल्ट कर दिया जाएगा, एमपी नहीं जाएगा, मुझसे कहेंगे रिस्ट्रक्चरिंग में जाइए, मॉरेटोरियम दे दिया एक्सेट्रा. गवर्नमेंट की कोई जवाबदारी है? And are we there? Is there any system to question them? Is there any transparency to question any of the government? The problem is that we are there, and the problem again is, what is the budget? Budget is basically money bill. Money bill लोक सभा में जाता है, एक फाइनेंशियल बिल होता है, पहले लोकसभा राज्यसभा में दोनों में जाता था, फाइनेंशियल बिल, अब मनी बिल आ गया, मनी बिल लोकसभा में जाता है, लोकसभा पास हो जाता है. कौन पास करता है? एमपीज. आप अपने एमपीज को बुला कर पूछिए जीडीपी क्या होता है, आप बुला के पूछिए ना उनसे, बजट में इनकम टैक्स के 79 अमेंडमेंट्स हैं, क्या अमेंडमेंट्स का मतलब होता है, कोई पास करते हैं? What again, the basic theory is that we are doing budget exercise year by year as a festival. It's a very good media starting from the ending, but there is nothing which comes out of the budget which says that budget direction was this and actual achievement was this. Is there any system of achievement calculation? You got assessments. Are we assessing the government? What happens is we say, okay, fiscal deficit projected 4.5 था और हुआ 5.5, कोई बात नहीं, ये खर्चे ज्यादा हो गए, वो तो हमें पता है. अगर इम्तिहान में पास नहीं होते तो माँ बाप को कहते हैं सर ये पेपर बड़ा टफ था, हाँ कहते हैं ना, क्या करेंगे? तो what again, my basic policy is that with the transparency this government has, with the courage this government has, with the boldness this government has, it should come out with all the features of saying that ये मेरा खर्चा करना है, मैं ओपन टू चेकिंग हूं. चाहे वो अगर आज गवर्नमेंट, कोई भी गवर्नमेंट हो, 2 पन्ने के ऐड आते हैं कि मेरे 100 दिन में मैंने ये किया, 200 दिन में ये किया, 300 दिन में ये किया, किसका खर्चा हो रहा है? मेरा, टैक्स पेयर्स का. क्या टैक्स पेयर से आप पूछ रहे हो कि मैंने कर रहा हूं? क्या कभी आपने टैक्सपेयर से पूछा, आपने मैडम निर्मला सीतारमण called so many persons of societies and did a very good enhancement of the budget कि हाँ analysis करेंगे, but again as you said out of 180 people 180 लोगों से पूछा गया, you said that persons which were 160 were above 3,000 crores, some were above 2,000, but what is the population of people in India? This is comprised only 0.1%. Have you asked 99% what they want? Is there any transformation of the rural population? You know what is happening? Again, very positive everything. You know, we are at GDP of 5th highest in the world. But do you know the per capita GDP of India? We are the 146 in the world. 146 in the world. We are 30th in Asia in the per capita GDP. So, which means that country is growing, progressing, but again, there is a disparity that are happening. There is a disparity between rich and poor which is happening. And now, to contract these disparities, we have to take actions which has been rightly done in the government in some manner. But disparities have to go down in this country because गरीब होता जा रहा है. अगर आप समझें कि हमने इस बजट में अगर एक्सपेंडिचर हम लोग देखेंगे तो हम लोगों ने सब्सिडीज घटाई हैं, ठीक है, आई एग्री सब्सिडीज घटानी चाहिए, पर सब्सिडीज उसको मिलती है गरीब को मिलती है. और हमने क्या किया है, इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर में डाला, उससे एडवांटेज है कि इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर में एम्प्लॉयमेंट आएगा. आई एम नॉट सेइंग नहीं आएगा, बट क्वेश्चन आता है कि अगर एक किसान के पास पेट्रोल 100 रुपए में जाता है, यू नो बड़ा अच्छा मैंने एक स्लोगन देखा है पेट्रोल पंप पे, सर वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग स्लोगन. उसमें लिखा था पेट्रोल पंप में, वी कलेक्ट फेडरल टैक्सेस, वी कलेक्ट प्रोविंशियल टैक्सेस, वी कलेक्ट लोकल टैक्सेस एंड वी आल्सो सेल पेट्रोल. क्योंकि 27 रुपए का पेट्रोल है और 100 रुपए बिक रहा, तो फिर हम क्या कह रहे हैं, पेट्रोल 27 रुपए बेच रहे हैं ना, कल तो टैक्सेस कर रहे हैं. तो क्या वी आर, हाउ मच एम्पावरिंग आर वी टू आवर पुअर पीपल? We are, that is the direction the budget should be. That is the direction we should take our budget forward. That is the direction because we have to see the disparities go down. We have to ensure that per capita income which is lower than Nigeria should come up, because country coming up means the people of the country coming up. Country coming up does not mean that the country is coming up with Ambani is going with 15 lakh crores, he becomes 20 lakh crores, or Adani goes 15 lakh crores to 20 lakh crores. What is the country going on? And that country is the entrepreneurship of yours. You know, आज भी we are bound. क्या दूसरा मतलब जो again what he said is दूसरा, हम क्या कर रहे हैं, हमने इस साल क्या किया, बस डेफिसिट फाइनेंसिंग किया, फिस्कल डेफिसिट 15 लाख करोड़ रुपए लिया है. 15 लाख करोड़ लेके हम क्या कर रहे हैं, we are taking long term loans for current expenditure. हम क्या कर रहे हैं, लॉन्ग टर्म लोन्स ले रहे हैं करंट एक्सपेंडिचर. क्या कोई भी कंपनी को हम लोग जैसे एज अ स्टूडेंट फाइनेंशियल एमबीए जो भी हो टर्म लोन लेंगे फॉर रेवेन्यू एक्सपेंडिचर नहीं लेंगे. बट fiscal deficit is necessary for developing economy because a lot of people are raising these questions and I am trying to answer these questions. Akshay has already answered, because fiscal, again we anticipate growth in future, and the biggest problem here which the government must do is monetization of assets. Unless until you monetize assets, you gain money from monetization of the government bad assets. There are not bad companies, they are not bad, not necessarily IPO of LIC, no. You go to the city in Kanpur, you will find thousands and thousands of acres of land of government which is lying idle. Monetization of those assets, nobody has the courage. If you start doing monetization where it's any government, BJP 6 साल थे और कांग्रेस 70 साल रही, किसी ने आज तक आपने देखा कोई यहाँ सरकारी लैंड बेचने का करेज निकालने किसी में निकला? सरकारी लैंड्स बड़े हुए. जब तक आप एसेट्स मोनेटाइज नहीं करेंगे, जो डिफंक्ट एसेट्स हैं, जो बैड एसेट्स हैं, जो यूज नहीं है, जिनकी यूजफुलिटी नहीं है, जिसकी यूटिलिटी नहीं है, कोई कंपनी आप बेचने जाएंगे तो प्राइवेट सेक्टर वाला कौन सा है, वो वही कंपनी लेगा, या तो एयर इंडिया को लेगा 15,000 करोड़ जिसमें उसको 80% हेड कट मिलेगा, या वो प्राइवेट कंपनी लेगा जो प्रॉफिटेबल होगी. प्राइवेट वाला कंपनी प्राइवेटाइज करने वाला अडानी जी कोई एयरपोर्ट घाटे वाला थोड़ी लेने वाले हैं, उनको तो शेयर होल्डर से बचाना है, उनको प्रॉफिट दिखाना है. तो डू यू थिंक अडानी इज गोइंग टू बाय एनी लॉस ऑफ मेन कंपनी? नो. So there the government should privatization fine should be, of course large banks is a must, of course I don't say that because for the country's growth, but privatization, rather than privatization, I think whatever the government public sector enterprises, give them a scale to grow. Let HAL grow twice, let Sport India grow twice, don't give all the options to twice. They all have capability, they have been shown over the years. They may be less, I would say, okay, not less efficient. Bureaucracy, fine. Change that. Make them more efficient. If a person in my office is not efficient, I have to make him more efficient. I have to throw him off. He's my family member. So we have to see, the government has to see to try to make them more efficient rather than just striving them up. That's what my thought is. Another issue is, see, again, just for your knowledge, again, it's nothing to do with here. See, what is the difference between tax and a cess? The taxes, when you collect, go to the government, central and the states. But when they collect the cess, it goes to the center only. It's not divided between the center and the states. And that is the reason why they have done in customs reduced customs duty, because there is a tax, and started a cess, because cess will go to the center, and they want more money to the center because of the COVID and all those things. So therefore, every year there is some jugglery between the tax, when the taxes and the cess, new tax cesses are involved, but primarily the reason is shifting of that into the central government's hand rather than state government's hand. So this year they have increased the one cess, which will go to the central government, the state will get lesser money. And targets, of course, disinvestment bank rate, they have not been achieved. Stock exchange के लिए, of course, economic times की बड़ी अच्छी headline थी. No news is good news. It was a headline on the first day because they said, क्योंकि सब उम्मीद कर रहे थे taxes बढ़ जाएंगे हमारा, तो कहते हैं no news is good news. तो आप सोचिए, बजट के लिए अगर अगले दिन economic time लिख रहा है कि no news is good news, and stock market is rising because of that, then of course you can understand. But stock markets are going up. Projections, more of Q3 results, because what India has shown in the pandemic has not shown anywhere in the world. Thank you. No in the world. जो Q3 results आए हैं इंडिया के, अक्षय से बहुत सारी कंपनी ऑडिट करते हैं, लिस्टेड कंपनीज, आप देखिए ऐसे Q3 रिजल्ट्स किसी कभी हिंदुस्तान में नहीं आए. जो पेंडेमिक में लोगों ने जिस तरह से हिंदुस्तान में काम किया है, जो पेंडेमिक को अपॉर्चुनिटी बनाया है, जो एक प्रॉब्लम को अपॉर्चुनिटी में क्रिएट किया है, जितना हिंदुस्तान ने किया है किसी ने नहीं किया. दिस इज अ फैक्ट. All laurels to our countrymen, all laurels to our hats off to all these people, industries everywhere, because nowhere in the world they have shown such courage and despite the fact that we were hordes and hordes of people. मतलब यहाँ तो अगल बगल में चलने में 1,000 आदमी निकल जाता है, तब हम लोग वहाँ तो इतने डिस्टेंस है. जैसे यू नो वाज अ वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग सेइंग कि ऑस्ट्रेलिया का एक, अगर आपने देखा हो, ऑस्ट्रेलिया का एक जर्नलिस्ट आया था, तो उसने बड़ी इंटरेस्टिंग चीज लिखी. उसने कहा, आई हैव कम टू अलाहाबाद टू सी हाउ इन वन कुंभ द एंटायर ऑस्ट्रेलिया टेक्स अ बाथ. अब कितनी पॉपुलेशन ऑस्ट्रेलिया की, 2.5 करोड़, तो कुंभ में 4 करोड़ आदमी नहाता है, तो देखने कहता है आई जस्ट वांट टू सी एंटायर ऑस्ट्रेलिया टेकिंग अ बाथ इन वन कुंभ. सो that is a variation between us and then we have come out, and then we have struggled, and then we have achieved, and that's what I'm saying. Excellent results. Companies have done wonderful, people have done wonderful, and that's what all India is all about. And you are all about, because हम लोग को डिजिटल बिल्कुल नहीं आता. ये भी जानते हैं, मैं भी जानता हूँ, गोविंद तो शायद थोड़ा बात के हैं, हम लोग तो टोटलिंग करते थे हाथ से जब हमने सीए किया था, कैलकुलेटर नहीं थे, और आज सब चीज डिजिटल है. तो यू ऑल नो मच बियॉन्ड अस, मच मोर देन अस, मच मोर savvy, बिकॉज हमारे पास किताबें थी, आपके गूगल है. So you know much more, you can do much more, you can achieve much more, and you've got much more opportunities. Phenomenal. Direct tax proposal, I think he'll take. The only problem with me is, again, as a critic I should say, because देखिए, अगर सुंदरकांड आपने पढ़ा हो तो 37वां दोहा, गुप्ता जी पढ़ते होंगे, 37वां दोहा बड़ा अच्छा इंटरेस्टिंग है, जो कहता है कि अगर आपका मंत्री, वैद्य है ना, और गुरु, अगर 3 में से कोई अगर चापलूस हुए तो आपका विनाश. तो इसलिए I should be a critic if I am. Why I say is that, you know, in the last word for you, I would say that आशा के दीपक हो, खुशियों के मोती हो, आप सबके बीच में शिक्षा की ज्योति हो, पग पग में फूल खिले, उन्नति आपको इतनी मिले, कभी ना हो दुखों का सामना. ये मेरी शुभकामना. थैंक यू.
Thank you so much, sir, for your valuable. Thank you, sir. Our next speaker for the day is CA Govind Maheshwari. Sir is a qualified chartered accountant. He has worked as the vice president at the Institute of Chartered Accountants, Kolkata. More than 10,000 students have been trained under his guidance. Sir has worked as state head of training department of Reliance Group of Companies. He is a visiting faculty at the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, Institute of Company Secretaries of India, and various other MBA institutes. Sir has authored Income Tax Book for Excel Publications, New Delhi. He is a certified faculty of Retailers Association of India, Mumbai. Sir has conducted training programs for various government projects like MSME, NCDPD, ILFS, etc. Sir has been a business partner with Tally Education, IGNOU, SMU, and Annamalai University. He has also imparted training for corporates, banking sector, insurance sector, and mutual funds. Presently, Sir is running classes for professional courses at BMA Institute of Professional Studies. I would like to request Dr. Anil Kumar Singh to welcome Sir with a sapling. Some light on Union Budget 2021.
Respected Dr. J.N. Gupta sir, my professional seniors, C.A. Akshay sir, Rajiv Bhaiya, Rajiv sir, Dr. Divya Chaudhary. I am thankful to Jagran Institute of Management for giving me this opportunity. And my dear student, it is just like कि सचिन और द्रविड़ बैटिंग करके गए हैं और टेल एंडर को बोल दिया गया है कि अब आप आके बोलो. मेरे लिए बहुत डिफिकल्ट टास्क है कि जिनसे मैंने सीखा है, मैं इमिटेट करने की कोशिश कर रहा हूँ पिछले 20 सालों से. अक्षय भैया को, राजीव भैया को, उनके सामने मेरे को बोलने का मौका मिल रहा है. सो थैंक यू भैया, आप सामने बैठे हैं, सो अच्छा लग रहा है. मैं पार्ट ए पे बहुत ज़्यादा नहीं बोलूँगा, पार्ट ए पे एक्सपर्ट हमारे बोल चुके हैं. तो व्हाट आर माय टेकअवेज, उसके बारे में बहुत ब्रीफ में बात करूँगा. फिर जो बजट का पार्ट बी है, टैक्सेशन जो एस्पेक्ट है, उसमें मैं थोड़ा बहुत डिस्कस करूँगा. टाइम लिमिटेड है और बहुत सारे चेंजेस हैं. जैसे राजीव भैया ने बोला कि बजट में 79 चेंजेस हैं केवल टैक्सेशन में. इनकम टैक्स की हम बात कर रहे हैं, जीएसटी में अलग चेंजेस हैं, कस्टम्स में अलग चेंजेस हैं. 11 नए सेक्शन इंसर्ट किए गए हैं. 4 सेक्शन ऐसे हैं जिनको बिल्कुल चेंज कर दिया गया है. सो इतने सारे चेंजेस. जिस दिन बजट की लाइव स्ट्रीमिंग हो रही थी, मैं इमीडिएटली आफ्टर बजट मेरे को बोलना था किसी फोरम पे, तो टैक्सेस में हार्डली 10 चेंजेस बोले थे निर्मला सीतारमण जी ने. जब मैंने रात को जाके फाइनेंस बिल पढ़ा, 318 पन्ने का फाइनेंस बिल, पार्ट ए की हम बात नहीं कर रहे हैं, 318 पन्ने का केवल फाइनेंस बिल था. सो जैसे भैया ने बोला कि इतने चेंजेस की जरूरत क्या है, तो बहुत सारे चेंजेस हैं. तो मैं मेन चेंजेस यहाँ पे डिस्कस करूंगा. मेरे जो टेक अवेज हैं, ये ऑलरेडी भैया ने ऑलरेडी डिस्कस कर चुका है कि स्क्रैपिंग पॉलिसी की बात की है. ये सारा लोकेशन है, मैं इसमें ज़्यादा नहीं लूँगा टाइम. इंश्योरेंस एक्ट में बात की गई है, एफडीआई को बढ़ाने की बात की गई है. जैसा अक्षय भाई ने बोला कि एक वेलकम स्टेप है कि जो सेबी एक्ट है, सिक्योरिटीज कॉन्ट्रैक्ट रेगुलेशन एक्ट है, गवर्नमेंट सिक्योरिटीज एक्ट है, इसको कंसोलिडेट करके और सिक्योरिटीज मार्केट कोड बनाने की बात की गई है. जस्ट लाइक कि जैसे जीएसटी आया, 17 इनडायरेक्ट टैक्सेस को सब्स्यूम करके जीएसटी आया, वैसे ही जो इतने टेक्निकल एक्ट्स हैं, इतने सारे जो एक्ट हैं सिक्योरिटीज मार्केट से रिलेटेड, उनको कंसोलिडेट करने की बात की गई है इस बजट में. सुदीप ने बिल्कुल सही बोला था कि सरकार एकदम इलेक्शन पे भी ध्यान रखती है. तो जो एलोकेट किया गया है उसमें आप देखिएगा कि तमिलनाडु, केरला, वेस्ट बंगाल और आसाम के लिए ह्यूज अमाउंट एलोकेट किया गया है बिकॉज ऑफ दिस इलेक्शन पर्पस. इनकम टैक्स सेटलमेंट कमीशन, इनकम टैक्स में होता था, उसको स्क्रैप कर दिया गया है. चलिए मैं आता हूँ, मेरी जहाँ पे एक्सपर्टीज है थोड़ी बहुत, उसके बारे में बात करते हैं. टैक्सेशन में जो अमेंडमेंट किए गए हैं उसके बारे में हम बात करते हैं. आई होप कि यहाँ पे जो MBA फर्स्ट ईयर के स्टूडेंट हैं उनको थोड़ी सी प्रॉब्लम होगी इसको समझने में. शायद उन्होंने टैक्स नहीं पढ़ा होगा, और बाकी जो सेकेंड ईयर और बाकी बच्चे हैं उनको शायद टैक्स के प्रपोजल समझ में आएंगे। मैं कोशिश करूंगा कि जो भी अमेंडमेंट हुए हैं उसका थोड़ा सा बैकग्राउंड आपको बताऊं, फिर क्या अमेंडमेंट हुए उसको बताऊंगा आपको। सबसे पहले बहुत बेसिक बात करते हैं, ये जो कुछ भी फाइनेंस बिल में बोला गया, दीज आर ऑल प्रपोजल्स। फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर किसी चीज को इंपोज नहीं कर सकती, क्या प्रपोज कर सकती। उन्होंने प्रपोज किया है कि नेक्स्ट ईयर का मतलब जो अब साल आएगा 1 अप्रैल 2021 से लेकर 31 मार्च 2022 तक, ये सारे फाइनेंशियल प्रपोजल्स हैं। व्हेन इट विल बी डिस्कस्ड इन बोथ द हाउसेस ऑफ पार्लियामेंट, जब इस पे कंसेंट मिल जाएगी और इस पे असेंट हो जाएगी प्रेसिडेंट ऑफ इंडिया की, देन इट विल बिकम फाइनेंस एक्ट एंड दिस फाइनेंस एक्ट विल बी इनकॉर्पोरेटेड इन इनकम टैक्स एक्ट 1961 एंड अदर एक्ट्स। So this is simply proposal and hopefully ये सारे proposal पास होके इनका enactment हो जाएगा। ओके, टैक्स रेट पे कोई चेंज नहीं किया गया है, शायद ये सबसे बड़ा रिलीफ था और इसी की वजह से स्टॉक मार्केट ने इतना अच्छा जंप किया। हम लोगों को एक्सपेक्टेशन थी कि टैक्स रेट पे चेंजेस आएंगे, रीजन है कि इतना सारा एक्सपेंडिचर बिकॉज ऑफ कोविड हुआ है, तो वो जो चेंजेस नहीं आए टैक्स रेट पे वो शायद सबसे बड़ा प्लस था। हम लोगों को यह भी उम्मीद थी कि कैपिटल गेन में सेक्शन 112A, सेक्शन 111A और एसटीटी में कोई चेंज होगा, उसमें भी कोई चेंज नहीं हुआ। सो बहुत क्विकली हम आपको बताएं कि टैक्स रेट क्या है फॉर दिस ईयर और नेक्स्ट ईयर में टैक्स रेट क्या होंगे, वो हम आपसे डिस्कस कर रहे हैं बहुत क्विकली। देखिए, टैक्स लगाने के वर्ल्ड वाइड दो तरीके होते हैं, एक होता है फ्लैट, एक होता है स्लैब। इंडिया इज फॉलोइंग बोथ द मेथड्स। इंडिया में स्लैब भी लगता है, फ्लैट भी लगता है। स्लैब लगता है इंडिविजुअल एचईएफ, एओपी, बीओआई एक्सेट्रा पे, और कंपनीज, पार्टनरशिप फर्म और एलएलपी पे जो टैक्स लगाने का तरीका है वो है फ्लैट। अभी राजीव भैया ने बोला कि सरकार जगलरी करती है टैक्स को लेके, तो आप शायद सुनते होंगे कि फॉर इंडिविजुअल देयर आर 2 रिजीम्स, ओल्ड रिजीम एंड न्यू रिजीम। तो ये ओल्ड रिजीम क्या है, न्यू रिजीम क्या है, फिर आपको डिसाइड करना पड़ेगा कि आपके लिए कौन सी बेनिफिशियल है, फिर उसके हिसाब से आप टैक्स पे करें। तो दोनों रिजीम, इंडिविजुअल, एचईएफ, एओपी, बीओआई के लिए हम बहुत जल्दी से आपको डिस्कस करते हैं। ये ओल्ड रिजीम की हम बात करें जो एप्लीकेबल होगी इस साल फॉर द फाइनेंशियल ईयर 2021 एज वेल एज फॉर द फाइनेंशियल ईयर 21-22। वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट प्रीवियस ईयर 2021 एज वेल एज 21-22। ओके, up to 2,50,000 I'm talking about individual whose age is less than 60 years in this year and in the next year also। तो जिनकी इनकम 2.5 लाख रुपए से कम है उनको कोई टैक्स नहीं देना है। फ्रॉम 2,50,000 till 5 लाख 5% टैक्स देना है। ये ओल्ड रिजीम की हम बात कर रहे हैं, ऑप्शनल है। थर्ड स्लैब है 5 लाख रुपए से 10 लाख रुपए के बीच में, यू हैव टू पे टैक्स एट द रेट ऑफ 20% एंड अबव 10 लाख यू हैव टू पे टैक्स एट द रेट ऑफ 30%। माइंड इट, दीज आर स्लैब्स। इट मींस इफ यू हैव इनकम ऑफ 9 लाख रुपीज, तो ऐसा नहीं कि 9 लाख का 20% देना पड़ेगा। फ्रॉम दिस 9 लाख you have to, you are not liable to pay tax on rupees 2,50,000. First 2,50,000 is exempted. From 250 till 5, the difference is 250. You have to pay tax at the rate of 5%, and above 5 lakh till 9 lakh you have to pay tax at the rate of 20%. तो टैक्स बनाते समय एटलीस्ट इंडिया में ध्यान रखा गया है कि जो बिलो पॉवर्टी लाइन है या गरीब लोग हैं उन पर टैक्स ना लगे, जो मिडिल क्लास है उन पर कम लगे और जो एलीट क्लास है उन पर हैवी टैक्स लगे। हम बात करें सीनियर सिटीजन्स की। सीनियर सिटीजन जिनकी एज 60 ईयर्स से 79 ईयर्स है। इस बार एक नया इंसर्शन और किया गया है सीनियर सिटीजन में, उसमें हम डिस्कशन करेंगे। 75 ईयर्स वाला आपको सुना होगा। सो अभी हम टैक्स की बात करें, 60 ईयर्स टिल 79 ईयर्स टिल 3 lakhs दे नीड नॉट टू पे एनी टैक्स। एग्जम्पशन है उनको। फ्रॉम 3 lakh to 5 lakh दे हैव टू पे टैक्स एट द रेट ऑफ 5%। फ्रॉम 5 lakh to 10 lakh दे हैव टू पे टैक्स एट द रेट ऑफ 20%, एंड अबव 10 lakh द रेट इज 30%। Now I'll be talking about super senior citizen. Who are super senior citizen? जिनकी एज 80 years and above है, उनको हम बोलते हैं सुपर सीनियर सिटीजन। 5 लाख रुपए तक की इनकम उनकी एग्जेम्प्टेड है इस साल भी, और नेक्स्ट जो बजट में चेंज हुआ नहीं है रेट्स में, तो 5 लाख रुपए तक उनको टैक्स नहीं देना अर्निंग में। पूरे साल की अर्निंग की हम बात करें, 5 lakh to 10 lakh they have to pay tax at the rate of 20%, and above 10 lakh the rate is 30%. So this is simply tax. Now there is surcharge for whom, जिनकी इनकम एक सर्टेन लिमिट से ऊपर है, थ्रेशोल्ड लिमिट से ऊपर है, उनको सरचार्ज देना पड़ेगा। व्हाट इज सरचार्ज? सरचार्ज इज टैक्स ऑन टैक्स। सो इफ इनकम इज ग्रेटर देन 50%, then they have to pay surcharge at the rate of 10% on tax component. If income is above 1 crore, they have to pay tax, they have to pay surcharge at the rate of 15%. If income is above 2 crore, the surcharge rate is 25%. And if income is greater than 5 crore, look at the rate, the surcharge rate is 37% on tax component. रिलीफ भी है, एक सेक्शन 87A है इनकम टैक्स में, वो बोलता है कि जिनकी इनकम रेसिडेंट इंडिविजुअल, जिनकी इनकम 5 लाख रुपए या उनसे कम है, तो उनको एक रिबेट मिलेगी टैक्स में, एंड द मैक्सिमम अमाउंट ऑफ रिबेट इज 12,500. सो 5 लाख से नीचे वालों को रिबेट मिलेगी. रिबेट इज डिडक्टेड फ्रॉम योर टैक्स लायबिलिटी, whereas surcharge is added to your tax liability. And apart from rebate and surcharge, every assessee, whosoever is paying tax, has to pay health and education cess at the rate of 4% on the tax component, including surcharge of health. So this is health and education cess. Now I'll be talking about new tax regime, जिसको लेके काफी चर्चाएं हैं. एक ऑप्शन ये है कि जैसा अभी हमने बताया, ओल्ड टैक्स रिजीम में आप टैक्स पे कर दें. एज ए टैक्स कंसल्टेंट अब हम लोगों का काम थोड़ा सा बढ़ गया है. हमको अपने क्लाइंट को बताना पड़ेगा कि आपको ओल्ड टैक्स रिजीम में फायदा है या न्यू टैक्स रिजीम में फायदा है. व्हाट इज ओल्ड टैक्स रिजीम? अगेन मैं एक चीज आपसे और डिस्कस करूं. मैंने एक सैंपल करीब 100-200 लोगों का एक सैंपल मैंने सैंपल देखा और मुझे लगा कि शायद 70 to 80%, अजी भी आप मेरे को करेक्ट करेंगे, 70 to 80% ऐसे लोग हैं जिनको ओल्ड टैक्स रिजीम में फायदा है, न्यू टैक्स रिजीम में फायदा नहीं है. लेकिन उसको इतनी बढ़िया तरीके से प्रोपोगेट किया गया, शोकेस किया गया कि लोगों को लगा कि कुछ बहुत बड़ा चेंज हो गया है. न्यू टैक्स रिजीम में बोला गया है कि आपके पास ऑप्शन है, बहुत डिटेलिंग नहीं करेंगे हम क्योंकि कुछ चीजें हमें आपसे और डिस्कस करनी है. आपको इतने सारे एग्जेम्पशन और डिडक्शन अगर आप फॉरगो कर दोगे, नहीं लोगे, बहुत सारे एग्जेम्पशन और डिडक्शन मिलते हैं. स्पेशली सैलरीड क्लास को बहुत सारे एग्जेम्पशन और डिडक्शन मिलते हैं. और एक चैप्टर 6 से होता है इनकम टैक्स में 80C to 80U, तो उसमें 2 सेक्शन को छोड़ के वो सारे सेक्शन के डिडक्शन अगर आप फॉरगो कर दोगे, सेक्रीफाइस करोगे, तो उस केस में ये सारे सेक्शन हम डिटेल में बात नहीं करेंगे. तो उस केस में आपका टैक्स स्लैब कुछ इस तरीके से होगा. न्यू टैक्स रिजीम में अप टू 2,50,000 नो रेट, नो टैक्स. फ्रॉम 250 to 5 lakh 5%, 5 lakh to 750 10%, 750 to 10 lakh it is 15%, 10 lakh to 12 lakh 50,000 20%, 50 to 15 lakh 25%, and above 15 lakh it is 30%. So these are some juggleries. Now I'll be talking about corporate tax rate. कंपनी को कितना टैक्स देना पड़ेगा, दिस इज इंटरेस्टिंग. और एक चीज जो निर्मला सीतारमण जी ने लास्ट बजट में भी बोली थी और इस बजट में भी बोली है, प्रोबेबली द लोएस्ट कॉर्पोरेट टैक्स रेट इज एप्लीकेबल इन इंडिया. ये देखिएगा, इंटरेस्टिंग है. एक चार्ट के थ्रू आपको विजिबल होगा शायद. कंपनी के केस में आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट डोमेस्टिक कंपनी, नॉट फॉरेन कंपनी. फॉरेन कंपनी को 40% टैक्स देना है. डोमेस्टिक कंपनी के लिए टैक्स रेट देखिएगा जरा. सेक्शन 115BA, ये सेक्शन 115BA क्या बोलता है कि डोमेस्टिक कंपनी जो इन्वॉल्व इन मैन्युफैक्चरिंग ऑफ एनी आर्टिकल और थिंग, तो उनको टैक्स देना पड़ेगा. यहाँ पे कोई बेसिक एग्जेम्पशन लिमिट नहीं है. राइट फ्रॉम द बिगिनिंग 1 रुपए से उनको टैक्स देना पड़ेगा. सो उनका टैक्स रेट है 25%. डोमेस्टिक कंपनी, इसके लिए कंपल्शन है, अभी चेंज किया गया है स्मॉल कंपनीज को, कि वो कंपनी जिनका लास्ट टू लास्ट ईयर टर्नओवर 400 करोड़ रुपए से कम था, उनको बोला गया है कि करंट ईयर में आपको टोटल इनकम पे 25% टैक्स देना पड़ेगा. सो डोमेस्टिक कंपनी के लिए 400 करोड़ से ऊपर वाली जो कंपनी है उनके लिए टैक्स रेट है 30%. लास्ट वाला देखिएगा. और जिनका टर्नओवर लास्ट टू लास्ट ईयर 400 करोड़ रुपए से कम था, उनको टैक्स देना पड़ेगा 25%. सरचार्ज देना पड़ेगा. सरचार्ज कितना लगेगा? अगर इनकम एक्सीड करती है 1 करोड़ से तो 7%, इनकम एक्सीड करती है 10 करोड़ से तो 12% सरचार्ज देना पड़ेगा. और मैट एक मिनिमम ऑल्टरनेटिव टैक्स होता है सेक्शन 115JB, तो एटलीस्ट 15% मैट तो देना ही पड़ेगा. अब मैं बात करता हूँ लास्ट ईयर जो 2 नए सेक्शन इंसर्ट किए गए, सेक्शन 115BAA एंड सेक्शन 115BAB. ये क्या बोलते हैं? सेक्शन 115BAA ये बोलते हैं कि कोई भी डोमेस्टिक कंपनी अगेन सर्टेन डिडक्शन एंड एग्जेम्पशन अगर फॉरगो कर दे तो उस केस में उनके लिए टैक्स लगेगा 22%. जो भी प्रॉफिट आपका होगा उसका आप टोटल डिडक्शन ले सकते हो। तो 1 साल तक आप और सेटअप करोगे तो इस सेक्शन की छूट मिलेगी। 80IAB, इस सेक्शन को भी 1 साल का एक्सटेंशन मिला है। 80IAB क्या बोलता है कि अगर कोई बिल्डर जो अफोर्डेबल हाउस बना रहा है उसको इस सेक्शन में छूट मिलती है बिजनेस में, तो इस सेक्शन को भी 1 साल के लिए एक्सटेंड किया गया है। बहुत सारी टेक्निकलिटीज और हैं इन सारे सेक्शन में, लेकिन हम उसमें नहीं जा रहे हैं, हम अब बेसिक आपको बात कर रहे हैं यहाँ पे। इसको लेके बड़ा शोकेस किया गया था, इन डेप्थ जाके जब हमने इसको पढ़ा तो एक्चुअली दिस इज यूजलेस, एक्चुअली यूजलेस। एक बोला गया था और लोगों ने बड़ी ताली बजाई कि अरे वाह, संसद ने कि 75 साल से ऊपर के लोगों को रिटर्न फाइल करने की जरूरत नहीं है, अगर उनकी पेंशन इनकम है या इंटरेस्ट इनकम है तो यूजलेस है। मतलब ऐसा नहीं कि उनको टैक्स नहीं देना है, कि रिटर्न नहीं भरना है, उसमें इतने सारे कॉम्प्लिकेशन है कि केवल पेंशन इनकम हो और इंटरेस्ट इनकम हो, और जब पेंशन इनकम है एक ही बैंक अकाउंट में आए, और जो बैंक का मैनेजर है, बैंक है, वो आपसे सारे डिडक्शन की ले कि भाई आपकी पेंशन कितनी है, आपका इंटरेस्ट कितना है, आपका टैक्स कैलकुलेट करे और उसके बाद टैक्स को वो TDS काट के जमा करा दे सरकार को, तो उस केस में रिटर्न भरने की जरूरत नहीं है। तो ये बड़ा इम्प्रैक्टिकल है कि एक ही बैंक अकाउंट हो। नॉर्मली हर पेंशनर के पास कोई मकान होगा, अगर मकान है तो इस सेक्शन तो उसको छूट नहीं मिलेगी रिटर्न ना फाइल करने की। सो यूजलेस है। कुछ चीजें केवल शोकेस की जाती हैं। एक और ये बड़ा इम्प्रैक्टिकल सी चीज बोली थी, शायद आपने बजट अगर सुना हो कि अब हाँ ये सुदीप भी बात किए थे, हम लोग साथ में ही थे उस दिन जब बजट चल रहा था। एक सेक्शन 147 है जो बहुत खतरनाक है किसी भी SSC के लिए, इसको हम लोग बोलते हैं रीअसेसमेंट। सेक्शन 147, 148 एंड टाइम लिमिट दी हुई है सेक्शन 149 में। ये सेक्शन क्या बोलता है, सुनना, बड़ा इंटरेस्टिंग सेक्शन है। ये थोड़ा सा रिलैक्स है टैक्स पेयर के लिए कि अगर किसी भी टैक्स पेयर ने कोई इवेजन किया है तो अगले 6 साल तक उसका केस रीओपन कर सकती है इनकम टैक्स डिपार्टमेंट। 6 साल तक, असेसमेंट के खत्म होने के 6 साल, और एक होता था 10 साल, एक्चुअली 3 होते थे, 4 साल, 6 साल, 10 साल। तो जो 6 साल तक केस रीओपन हो सकता था उस टाइम को रिड्यूस करके 3 साल कर दिया गया है। तो अब डरने की थोड़ी सी कम जरूरत है, 3 साल तक केवल डरना पड़ेगा कि 3 साल के अंदर केस रीओपन हो सकता है, उसके बाद नहीं हो सकता। लेकिन अगर कोई सीरियस इवेजन है, 50 लाख से ऊपर का इवेजन है, तो 10 साल तक हो सकता है। तो ये थोड़ा सा अच्छा है। इसके करस्पॉन्डिंग एक सेक्शन और है, सेक्शन 44AA, कंपल्सरी मेंटेनेंस ऑफ बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट्स, तो उस पर भी चेंज किया गया। एक लिटिगेशन इतने ज्यादा हैं इनकम टैक्स में। एक्चुअली क्या होता है, आप अपील करते हो तो 4 लेयर होती हैं। फर्स्ट अपील गोज टू CIT अपील्स, नेक्स्ट अपील होती IT इनकम टैक्स अपीलेट ट्रिब्यूनल, और उसके बाद इफ देयर इज अ सब्सटेंशियल क्वेश्चन ऑफ लॉ देन यू कैन गो टू हाई कोर्ट, देन सुप्रीम कोर्ट। तो इतने सारे केस पेंडिंग हैं फर्स्ट अपील में, सेकेंड अपील में। तो एक बढ़िया इनिशिएटिव लिया गया है, वो कैसे क्या होगा वो बाद में देखने वाली बात होगी। डिस्प्यूट रेजोल्यूशन कमेटी बनाने की बात की गई है कि जो छोटे केसेस हैं वो सारे एसएससी जिनकी इनकम 10 लाख रुपए तक है, जिनकी इनकम 50 लाख रुपए तक है और डिस्प्यूटेड अमाउंट 10 लाख तक है, सो इंस्टेड ऑफ गोइंग टू अपीलेट ट्रिब्यूनल दे कैन अप्रोच टू दिस डिस्प्यूट रेजोल्यूशन कमेटी, और उससे बात करके केस को स्पीडी सेटलमेंट हो सकता है। सब कुछ फेसलेस। इनकम टैक्स की हम बात करें, कंपनीज एक्ट की बात करें, GST की बात करें, सब कुछ डिजिटल। लुक्स गुड, लेकिन बहुत सारी प्रैक्टिकल प्रॉब्लम होती हैं। इस समय इनकम टैक्स में हम जो अपील है वो फेसलेस हो गई है, पेनल्टी फेसलेस हो गई है, असेसमेंट फेसलेस हो गया है, और जो सेकेंड अपील हम लोग करते थे IT को, वो भी फेसलेस की बात की गई है। फेसलेस का मतलब यू नीड नॉट गो टू द डिपार्टमेंट। अगर आपको कोई पर्सनल हियरिंग करानी है, आप ध्यान से सुनिएगा, आप बोलते हो नहीं मेरे को तो सर बात करनी है, डिपार्टमेंट से बात करनी है, तो पर्सनल हियरिंग कैसे होगी कि आपको डिपार्टमेंट में बैठा दिया जाएगा। जो असेसिंग ऑफिसर होगा वो कहाँ का होगा पता नहीं, वो बेंगलोर में है कि मुंबई में है, और जब आप पर्सनल हियरिंग होगी तो आपका जो स्क्रीन होगा वो ब्लर होगा, मतलब सामने वाला आपको देख नहीं सकता है कि आप किससे बात कर रहे हो, और आप वो भी नहीं देख सकता है कि आप वो किसका केस हियर कर रहा है। तो ये ट्रांसपेरेंसी लाने की कोशिश की गई है। एक्चुअली सुनने में, पढ़ने में बहुत अच्छा लगता है कि ऐसा कुछ हो जाए। तो डिपार्टमेंट को लेके एक जो मेरे को अपने ऑनरेबल प्राइम मिनिस्टर का एक, जब उन्होंने पहले टर्म में एक बड़ा अच्छा स्टेटमेंट बोला था, मुझे बड़ा अच्छा लगा था, मुझे याद आ गया अभी एकदम से, कि उन्होंने बोला कि इंडिया में इंस्पेक्टर वोट सुनते ही हमको लगता है कि यार कुछ ब्राइब होगी, कुछ हमसे अनड्यू एडवांटेज चाहेगा, इंस्पेक्टर वर्ड का, सॉरी अगर पर्सनली मत लीजिएगा, तो वो जो डर है हमको वो हटाना है कि इंस्पेक्टर वर्ड से लोगों को डर कम लगे, तो इसलिए सबको डिजिटल और सब कुछ ऑटोमेटेड करने की कोशिश की जा रही है। NRIs जो इंडिया के बाहर से आ रहे हैं उनके लिए रिलैक्सेशन किया गया है, एक सेक्शन 89A इंसर्ट किया गया, कुछ रिलीफ दी जाएगी NRIs को जो बाहर से पैसा लेके आएंगे। प्री फाइलिंग ऑफ रिटर्न, ये भी क्लॉज सुनने में बड़ा अच्छा लगा था लेकिन प्रैक्टिकली हो नहीं सकता है कि अब जब आप इनकम टैक्स रिटर्न भरोगे तो कुछ फील्ड आपको ऑटोमेटिक वहां पे भरी हुई मिलेगी, ऑटो पॉपुलेटेड, वो सिस्टम ड्रिवन होंगी, आप ऑटोमेटिक हो जाएंगी, तो उसमें कुछ फील्ड आपको और भरी मिलेगी। जो आपको कैपिटल गेन हुआ है सिक्योरिटीज से, जो आपको डिविडेंड आया है, ये प्री फिल्ड होगा, मतलब अब आप उसको छुपा नहीं सकते हो, वो सरकार के सर्विलेंस में है। लेकिन प्रैक्टिकली ये थोड़ा सा कठिन होगा कि सिक्योरिटीज जो हमने बहुत पुरानी खरीदी है उसकी मेरी कॉस्ट ऑफ पोजीशन वो कहां से एक्सट्रैक्ट करेंगे, इसको लेके मेरे को भी थोड़ा सा डाउट है। एडवांस टैक्स, एज यू ऑल नो कि डिविडेंड अब टैक्सेबल हो गया है। लास्ट बजट में डिविडेंड डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन टैक्स करके एक लगता था सेक्शन 115O, उसको एबॉलिश कर दिया गया है, तो अब डिविडेंड जो शेयर होल्डर के हाथ में आएगा वो टैक्सेबल होगा। प्रैक्टिकली एक प्रॉब्लम समझना क्या आ रही थी जिसको प्लग किया गया है, एडवांस टैक्स। हर पर्सन को साल में 4 बार एडवांस टैक्स देना होता है, तो हमको ये पता 4 किस्तें देनी होती है एडवांस टैक्स में, और अगर एडवांस टैक्स समय से ना दो तो सेक्शन 234B एंड 234C का इंटरेस्ट देना पड़ता है। तो हमको ये पता नहीं है कि डिविडेंड कब आएगा, तो हम फर्स्ट किस्त में फर्स्ट जो हमारी इंस्टॉलमेंट है कैसे डिटरमाइन कर पाएंगे कि मेरे को इंटरेस्ट पे करना है। तो यहाँ पे बोला गया 234C में कि जब कंपनी डिक्लेयर करेगी डिविडेंड तो उसके बाद जो आपकी इंस्टॉलमेंट आने वाली है एडवांस टैक्स की, आपको उसमें इंटरेस्ट देना है, उसमें आपको टैक्स पे करना है, उससे पहले नहीं करना है। और पहले वाले जो आपका ब्रीच हुआ है इंस्टॉलमेंट में, उस पर 234C का इंटरेस्ट आपको नहीं लगेगा। स्लब से राजीव भाई ने बात करी, मैं बहुत जल्दी से बस समअप करूंगा। TDS में बदलाव किए गए हैं, TDS और TCS में बहुत सारे बदलाव किए गए। एक बड़ा इंटरेस्टिंग सा चीज है, बस वो हम आपसे डिस्कस करें फिर हम आगे बढ़ेंगे, कि अगर कोई पर्सन डिडक्टी या कलेक्टी जिसका टैक्स कट रहा है या जो टैक्स जिससे कलेक्ट हो रहा है अपना पैन नंबर नहीं देता है डिडक्टर या कलेक्टर को, तो उस केस में जो TDS का रेट है वो डबल हो जाता है, 5% है मैक्सिमम 20%। अब क्या एक प्रोविजन और किया गया कि अगर कोई असेसी, ध्यान से सुनिएगा, अगर आपने रिटर्न पिछले 2 सालों से नहीं भरा है तो उस केस में जो TDS काटने वाला है या टैक्स कलेक्ट करने वाला है, TDS का डबल रेट आपसे चार्ज करेगा। तो रिटर्न नहीं फाइल किया है तो उस केस में भी TDS का रेट बढ़ जाएगा। सरकार ने एक चीज और अच्छी की है, जो टैट है, टैट आपने सुना होगा, टर्न अराउंड टाइम, हर चीज का जो टाइम है उसको कम किया गया है, चाहे वो असेसमेंट की हम बात करें चाहे रिटर्न फाइल करने की। एक हम लोगों ने एक सेक्शन 113(4) एंड 113(5) है, रिवाइज रिटर्न और बिलेटेड रिटर्न, तो अब इसमें 3 महीने कम कर दिए गए हैं। अब आप रिटर्न केवल 31 दिसंबर तक रिवाइज कर सकते हैं, पहले 31 मार्च तक कर सकते थे। इसी तरीके बिलेटेड रिटर्न भी आपको 3 महीने का समय कम कर दिया गया। तो ग्रेजुअली हर सेक्शन में इनकम टैक्स के समय को थोड़ा सा स्क्वीज किया जा रहा है, एंड साइमल्टेनियसली जो डिपार्टमेंट है उनसे भी बोला जा रहा है कि अब आप समय कम करिए, जल्दी से असेसमेंट करके दीजिए। मैं दिव्या मैम से बोलूँगा कि कभी एक्सक्लूसिव जब भी ये बोलेंगे तो मैं यहाँ पे आके आपका टैक्स का GST टैक्स कस्टम कोई भी टैक्स हो तो मैं सेशन ले दूँगा। आई बी अवेलेबल फॉर दिस। थैंक यू सो मच।
Directors of JA Verticals, CEO Dr. J.N. Gupta sir, dear colleagues and my dear friends. Indeed, it is my privilege to stand over here and thank all the guests present. Though Rajiv sir has already left, but for your information, just I'd like to share and thank him for giving his last-minute consent and cooperation too. Indeed, each one's valuable contribution and time will go a long way, as I believe, in your learning. Budget 2021 is a very balanced budget, especially very encouraging for agriculture and infrastructure too. I am pretty sure the students over here must have gathered takeaways from the various talks of our different experts and guests today. Based on projected budget estimates, we can conclude that there is potential upside in economic growth as vaccine rollouts gaining momentum. All of you can see economic activities in certain key areas will be normalizing soon, and this is expected to lead a 11% growth, rather economic growth in 2021. Even a timely lockdown was helpful in containing the death toll and a faster recovery. Further, the survey report on Budget 2021 expectations presented by MBA students is indeed a well-researched work, and it was appraised by other guests too. I compliment the students for their efforts and understanding in laying down the comparisons and the details there too. I totally agree with Sudeep ji also that planning matters, especially when there is lot of uncertainty. Careful action and survival is the only key. Even Finance Minister announced to create global manufacturing across 13 sectors with amount committed nearly rupees 1.97 lakhs in next 5 years starting from 21-22, which is expected to go to next 27 sectors also. His emphasis on e-commerce and digitalization was particularly important and true also. Akshay ji reviewed India's pandemic battered economy, and it was so well explained and I think well understood also by all that a jump in capital expenditure took up unemployment, more spending on infrastructure and doubling the spending on healthcare, that is especially on Prime Minister Atmanirbhar Swasth Bharat Yojana, along with the details of 6 pillars given by him. Right, that understanding will obviously focus on survival, health and well-being out of this pandemic. Even his detailing on the Keynesian theory for a developing economy must be well understood by you, and I would say that you go back and understand on, have gathered greater understanding on that, because that is very important. His highlight towards the rationalization of custom duty on gold and silver to boost the market was also very good. Further moving ahead, I believe the review by Rajiv ji was candid. His candid, especially on GDP and the critics on various areas, which was actually very eye-opening and in true language, a layman experience. I think each one of you, when you will go back and discuss with your parents, they will also give you the same reviews what Rajiv ji was giving over here. I would say that all the economic students especially should understand the disparity in per capita income, which he was trying to explain you, that whatever we see in books in terms of per capita income or GDP is actually in books only. You should understand. That is his understanding of understanding of per capita income, which shows that rich is becoming more richer and poor is becoming more poorer in comparison to other countries, was also very good. And I think it requires the attention of a finance minister too. We had good understanding of how physical deficit is curbed by government and more employment opportunities are created through his talk. Especially the information which he gave on IFSC and OPC must be a new learning as a good learning for you all. You all should, being entrepreneurs, budding students, you should go back and try to gather more understanding on that. Highlights given by Govindji led to the understanding that the budget for the fiscal year made no changes in personal tax and corporate tax rate. Indeed, rather raised custom duties on certain auto parts, mobile phones, components and solar panels to impetus domestic manufacturers as well as to MSME. Understanding of various sections in very simple language and amendment was a well highlight of his speech too. In fact, I understand that everybody is very hungry and would not like to listen me more on this. So last but not the least, I would once again thank everyone to be a patient listener over here and being a part of the event today. We look forward to assimilate more understanding from the student session after the lunch break. So I hope to see everybody after the lunch break and be a more part of this event. Thank you so much. Have a great day.